All right, welcome back to the night club. Today we're doing lesson 7-6. We're still factoring trinomials, okay? But yesterday when we factored them, you probably didn't even notice it, but this A, this number that was in front of x squared was always 1 every time yesterday, okay? Today, it's not going to be 1. And when it's not 1, you have to do them a little different, okay? We need it to be 1 in order to factor. All right, so does anybody remember what the very first example we did yesterday? What did I ask first? Is there a very good common in what? Factor. Is there a common factor? Yesterday, the answer to that question was no every single time. Okay. Today, it might be no, it might be yes. For this one, is there a greatest common factor? Yes, there is. It's what? 5. So I'm going to factor out the 5. Okay? That's all I can factor out. So when you factor it out, you go and you divide everything by that 5 that you're factoring out. And what would be left? This cancels. So what's left? X squared. 15 over 5 is what? 2. Plus 3x plus 2. Okay? Now I can factor what's left in here. Okay? You got me? I can factor it now. Just like we did yesterday. So that will be 5. I make my 2 parentheses. I put x and x. And we play the little game. What 2 numbers multiply to be 2 and add up to be 3? 2 and 1. Plus 2 plus 1. There are your factors. Okay? So, that one we had one extra step. We had to take out what first? The common factor. We had to take out the 5. We had to take out the common factor. Always look for the common factor first. Every single time. Everybody good? Okay. Let's do another one like that. Okay. Another one like that. Should be similar. What do we get to take out this time? A 4. Okay. When I divide this by 4 and this by 4 and this by 4, what will I be left with? X squared plus what? 8x plus 15. Now I can do my binomial factors. What 2 numbers multiply to be 15 and add up to 8? 3 and 5. Okay? Everybody good on factoring out a common factor? And then factoring? All right? Example 2. A little different here. A little longer as well. I'm sorry. Okay? So there's 2 ways of doing this. I'm going to show you. It doesn't matter to me which way you do it. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. It does not matter to me. For part A, I'll do A one way and B another way. Okay? So, part A. Is there a greatest common factor? No, there's not. 4, 13, and 3, nothing goes into all 3 of those evenly. Okay? They don't all have an X. So, what I'm going to do, and there's lots of different names to what I'm about to do. Some people call it borrowing. That's what I call it. Some people call it the housetop method. There's a whole bunch of different ways. Okay, I like calling it borrowing. This is why. I'm going to take this 4 right here. Because remember, this problem is hard because of that 4. If there's a 1 in front, we're doing just like we did yesterday. And we did those pretty easy. Okay? But if there's something besides a 1 there, that's making this hard. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it. And the way I'm going to move it, I'm going to multiply it by that last number. Okay? So now it will say x squared plus 13x plus what is 4 times 3? 12. And now it looks like the problems we did yesterday. And so I'm going to work it like the problems we did yesterday. I'm going to make my 2 parentheses. And I play the game. What multiplies to be 12 and adds up to 13? Not everybody else. 1 and 12. All right. What did I say this was called? Borrowing. Okay. When you borrow something, what do you have to do? You got to give it back. Okay. Otherwise, it's called taking. Okay. So we borrowed the 4. Okay. How did we borrow it? What did we do to borrow? We multiplied. So we got to put it back. How do you think we're going to put it back? We're going to divide. We borrowed it by multiplying. We're going to put it back by dividing. Here's where you divide, right here. Your 2 answers. They're both going to be divided by what you borrowed. So that's going to be divided by 4, divided by 4. Okay? Your last step is to simplify this. Okay? If you have a fraction and it's saying factor, okay? Can I simplify that fraction? No, that's not simplifying. 1/4, that's making it a decimal, okay? 1/4 is as simple as it gets, okay? But if I still have a denominator, you're going to take that denominator and you're going to move it in front of your variable there, okay? So this one will be 4x plus 1 times, can I simplify that fraction? 3x plus 3. Okay? That is my answer. If I multiplied that out doing FOIL, I would get the question. Okay? Again, that's called what? Borrowing. That's how to do it, borrowing. All right? I like calling this one grouping. Okay? So this is same. So I'm doing the same thing, just doing it a different way. Okay? So you have options. Nowhere on the test is it going to say factor this by borrowing or factor this by grouping. It's going to be your decision. You get to decide how you want to do it. Okay? It's kind of the same thing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply these 2 numbers together. What do I get? 6. And I'm actually going to play the game right here. What 2 numbers multiply to be 6 and add up to -7? What kind of 1 and what kind of 6? -1 and negative. So they're both negative, aren't they? Okay? So rather than doing like we did here, I'm actually going to change this -7x to those 2 numbers. Okay? I'm going to say 3x squared. And rather than writing -7x, I'm going to write -1x minus 6x. Now, what does that add up to? -7x, okay, plus 2. Everybody with me so far? All I did was take my 2 numbers that I'm going to get, and that's what I changed that to, -1x minus 6x, okay? Here's where the grouping part comes in. I'm going to group these first 2 and these second 2 together, and I'm going to factor them individually, okay? In this first 2, in this first group, what do they have in common? X. So I'm going to take out an x. And if I divide these by x, I get x minus, I didn't divide by x. And none of y'all said anything. Just letting me make a fool of myself on national radio YouTube, okay?
National radio YouTube. Yes.
Divide by x, divide by x. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's try this again. 3x squared divided by x is just 3x, and x divided, or -x divided by x is -1. Okay?
You just said on live.
Yeah.
YouTube, national radio
I know.
YouTube.
It didn't make any sense at all to
You
me.
just go in the comment section and just say wow.
Wow, exactly. All right. -6x and 2. What do they have in common? Got one thing. 2. Okay? And since this one's negative, I'm actually going to bring out a negative 2. And I'm going to divide by negative 2 and divide by negative 2. I'm going to get 3x minus 1. Okay? Here's the part that gives people trouble. This and this are what? They're the same. So I can factor it out just like I did this x. See how they both have an x? So where'd I put the x? I put it where? In the front. Well, these two both have a what? They both have a 3x minus 1. So I'm going to move that 3x minus 1 to the front, and what's going to be left? X minus 2. Okay? These are the hardest factoring problems. Okay? I have good news, they don't really get any harder. Okay? So, this is we call this grouping because you group them together. Okay? This one's called the borrowing because you borrow it and then have to put it back later. Okay? Again, do I care which way you do it? No. No, I do not. It's up to you. However you want to do it. Okay? This way, I kind of grew up doing it this way. The problem with this way most of the time I see is that people will borrow it and guess what?
They won't give it back.
They won't give it back. They forget to give it back.
Because they steal
it. Okay? That is. And it's not that they're meaning to. It just slips their mind. Oh, I borrowed it, but I never put it back. Okay? This way, most people's complaint about this one is it's a little longer than this one, but not much. Okay? They both have, what, 2 steps, basically? All right? So, let's try another. Because I can tell y'all are, like, ecstatic about this.
Oh, yeah.
These opportunities, they don't come along all the time. Okay?
You were singing Eminem again. You did that like 6 times yesterday.
Yeah, I know, but nobody caught it, but I didn't think anybody did. But you did, man. I appreciate that, man.
I have Eminem.
Yeah, what?
Not that type of Eminem.
Oh.
Not that, yeah.
I swear.
Okay. Here, you want to borrow or do you want to group?
Borrow.
Borrow, all right? So, I'm going to move that to there. How do I move it again? I multiply. Before I do that, I skipped it because it doesn't have one, but I need to check to see if it has a what first. See if it has a common factor first. It does not, okay? So I'm going to move that over. That'll be x squared plus 7x plus 12. Then you factor like normal. What 2 numbers multiply to be 12 and add up to 7? 3 and 4. We borrowed a what? A 2, so we need to put it back. 3 over 2, does that simplify? No, so where do I need to put the 2?
3x plus
2. 2x plus 3. You move the denominator into the front of the x. It will not be the same thing. They'll be backwards. They'll be opposites of each other. They'll be reciprocals. That's the way you got to do it.
Can you show us the wrong one?
The wrong one?
Yeah, the wrong one.
Yeah, the wrong way would be putting the 3 in front of the x.
Yeah, the wrong way.
Well, this answer would be negative 1/2. If you switched it, your answer would be negative 2/3, which is incorrect when you go to solve it. Okay? 3x or 2x plus 3 is not the same thing as 3x plus 2. They're not the same thing. Okay? Will 4 over 2 reduce? Does 4 over 2 reduce? What's 4 divided by 2? 2. So x plus 2. And now we're done. I didn't know.
You can find out what that is.
Because
Because it's been going on like since Monday.
I'm old and I can't hear those high pitched noises. So. Everybody good on A?
I skip 3.
Here?
Up top.
Up here. Here? I said, what 2 numbers multiply to be 12 and add up to 7? 3 times 4 is 12. 3 plus 4 is 7. All right? All right, let's try the other one. Oops. Will it not go up? It won't go up. Okay. Well, I'll just have to deal with it. Which way you want me to do this one? Which way y'all like better? Borrowing? Does anybody like grouping?
No.
All right, we'll borrow then. Piece of cake. X squared minus 7x.
I pay it back. Leave me alone. I have good credit.
Not what they are.
All right. This time, what two numbers multiply to be 12 but add up to -7 this time?
-4 and +3.
Almost. I'm going to write that down just so you can see the error. Add those up.
-1.
We want it to be
Negative.
what?
-7.
-7. But these add up to -1.
Oh.
So what's wrong?
It's both -3.
They both need to be negative. Okay? And I do that just to show you, if you do mess up, as long as you're checking yourself as you go, you should be able to catch it. Okay? So what did we borrow?
Switch the signs around and plug it in right. 4.
We borrowed 4. So I'm going to divide by 4. Divide by 4. So my answer will be, well, 4 over 4, what is that? 1. So x minus 1. Does this simplify? It does not. 4x minus 3. Everybody good? Again, this is when it says what? Factor. All right. Example 3. Just another one. So we're going to borrow, right? 2 times, excuse me, 2 times -7 would be what? -14. We play our game. What two numbers multiply to be -14 and add up to -5? 7 and 2. Which one's positive? Which one's negative?
7's positive.
I'm going to write it, and then you look. What's 7 minus 2? 5. We want it to be what? So no big deal. We just do what? Change the signs. Okay? That needs to be positive. That needs to be minus. And we're done, right?
No.
No. Why aren't we done?
Because you have to simplify it.
Well, we borrowed.
You have to give
What do
it back.
we got to give it back. I was trying to catch y'all. Okay? We got to put it back. Don't forget to put it back. Okay? Does 7 over 2 reduce? Can we make that a smaller fraction at all? No. So what do we do with that 2? 2x minus 7. 2 over 2 is 1. Okay?
Could you put like another x there? Or no?
Everybody good? All right, one more. You got it. One more example.
Did you just call it the Trinity?
I did, but I changed it to Trinity after I
Trinity.
I actually just kind of said Trinity.
My mom calls me Trinity because she likes me more. She doesn't even see me though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about. I just know her mom loves me.
I'm sorry.
My mom's nice. She
I
doesn't like
apologize.
my grandma.
That's sad.
It is sad. It's really sad. She doesn't like my grandma. Your grandma is racist.
So I
We
tried
all
many,
know
many,
this.
many
All right.
times.
Can I go use the restroom? No. Please.
In just a second.
Just wait.
All right, y'all ready? So, I'm going to do everything the same except one little thing. Okay? You see how that is negative in the front?
Go put positive.
I'm going to make it positive and change all the other
She does
signs.
not.
Okay? How am I going to do that? I'm going to factor out the negative sign. Okay?
When that.
Factor it out. That will just make your problem a little easier to do. Okay? So now I'm going to borrow. That'll be x squared plus 8x minus 20. You keep your negative out front the whole time, okay? What two numbers multiply to be negative 20 and add up to positive 8? 5 and 4, right? 5 and 4 multiply to be 20? Yeah, but can you make it add up to 8?
No.
No, so it must not be 5 and 4. What other numbers multiply to be 20? And?
2.
2 and 10. Can 2 and 10 make 8 somehow?
Yeah, if you minus
Which one needs to be the negative?
it.
2. No, the 2.
The 2. Positive 10, negative 2. 10 times negative 2 is negative 20. 10 minus 2 is 8. Okay? Are we done?
No.
What do we got to do? Got to give it back. So we're giving back the 4. All right? I'm glad they finally gave us one. Can I reduce 10 over 4?
Yeah.
What does that reduce to? It's 5 over 2. So it's still a fraction. So I still move that 2 in front of the x plus 5. That's important. If you do not reduce it, you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay? Don't say 4x plus 10. Okay? That'll mess you up as far as the factors go. How about 2/4? Does that reduce?
Yes.
It reduces to
1/2.
1/2. So this one's going to be 2x minus 1. There are your factors. Okay? Now,
Every fraction is like the original answer.
original answer. What you
Like
mean?
4x2 plus like,
Oh, will there be fractions up here?
yeah.
It's possible, but I don't think they did that to you. Okay? One more thing to show you, and then we'll start doing some of our problems from the lesson. What if, instead of saying factor, what else might it say that we did yesterday? Solve. What if it says solve? Okay? I'm going to do every single thing exactly like I did. But once I get to here, okay, and I didn't write it down, I'm going to write it down over here. Okay? Once I get to that point, everybody follow me? I've simplified, okay? If you're solving it, you do not have to move the denominators. Just leave them where they are. I'm saving you a step, okay? Because what would this x need to equal for it to equal 0?
The opposite of whatever.
The opposite of 5 over 2, which is negative 5 over 2. This one's going to be positive 1/2. So, in conclusion, you only have to move your denominators if you're saying factor, okay? If it says solve, don't worry about moving them, okay? It's going to take care of itself. And here's why. Here I moved them, right? So this I would have to say 2x plus 5 equals 0. And I would subtract 5 over, and I get 2x equals negative 5, and I divide by 2, and I get the same answer I would have gotten if I had just left it alone. See what I'm saying? It's easier to leave them, again, if the directions say what? Solve. They got to say solve. If it says factor, you got to move it in front. Okay? Everybody good? Think of it like this. If it says factor, you shouldn't have any fractions in your binomials. Okay? If it says solve, your answers can be fractions. That's okay. Everybody good? All right. Let's do some. Folks at home, I'm going to drop you off here. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time. Stay above the line.